Hey, everybody. How's it going?
How's it going, guys?
We're live again. It's third episode. This should be
It
fun,
is, yeah.
man.
Third episode. That's awesome. Feels like we've done a ton of these.
It does. Maybe I got it wrong. This is the third one, right?
I think
This
so,
is
yeah.
right. Okay.
Well, I
Got it.
used to do these in the group before you came along.
Yeah.
But now we're doing it every week, and I think it's awesome that there's two of us too.
Yeah,
It's good to
man. It
make it fun.
definitely, I mean, I was thinking of the podcast that I like the most or like the content. And the one I listen to a lot right now is called All In, which is a tech podcast. And it's like the number one tech podcast right now. And they have four guys, and it actually just makes it so much better to hear multiple perspectives. So I think this is great. We're excited.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Awesome.
So,
Do you want to kick it off?
yeah, let's do it.
Go
So
for
if
it.
you're just tuning in now, then we do this every Thursday, same time. And what we do is we review either cold emails we get that land in our spam folder and roast and improve them, or take submissions from the audience, from our communities, and actually help you guys out with reworking the copy, looking at the offer, the lead magnet, all that stuff. So yeah, we've got a few student submissions today. A couple people actually from the Slack agency Go. So,
Yeah. We're really excited to review those. Did you have one you want to go over first?
yeah, I actually got one from Yavart he's an agency Go.
Oh, amazing.
Let me pull it up. Okay, cool. And also, guys, this is the first time we're seeing all of these cold email templates. So me and
Yeah.
Luke don't know the outcome.
No, yeah. First time.
Here we go. Cool. Let's take a second to read it.
Alrighty. Let me share this to the stream. Okay. I wish I had something to sell, but I don't. Having said that, we help fashion. Okay. I have thoughts, but do you want to go first?
You go ahead.
So I think I like the video angle, but I think the problem is it's not exactly concrete in terms of what the video entails. Because the thing is, nobody wants to at the end of the day, what I always look at is this something people would pay time or money for, whatever you're sending? And if you're sending a video that's just a pitch and all it is just pitching people on this is me and what I do, nobody is going to pay time or money to watch that, right? Like it's not valuable to them. But what is usually valuable, I mean, in some cases it is, but on the whole, it isn't. If you were to say, I audited your brand and I'm looking at how you compare to your competitors and I'm showing you like 14 different things you're doing wrong, I would pay for that personally from an expert,
100%.
right?
Yeah, I would too. With time or money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he definitely has the right idea with giving something valuable, but all it says is I made a video for company, made this video of an hour ago, and I think that you guys will love it. So yeah, what's in the video? What exactly will I see, or what will I gain from it?
That is key. And then I also think too, and by the way, if anyone, I see we're getting some more people on, if you guys want to ask questions as well, feel free to comment on the Facebook group, post, and you can actually ask us and it'll show up here as well. But yeah, I agree. I think that's a big thing. And I think he's on the right track as well by keeping it, pretty basic without any links. I think that's important, or at least no links that are maybe more spammy or that would be identified as spam. So that's really solid. Because I've actually seen, there's a kind of this general thing where people say don't put any links, but to be honest, I've kind of seen it be a little different, because for me, what I'll do is if the offer is so good that everyone is saying yes, then the reply rate will be so high that Google won't register it as spam. And then if they don't register it as spam, then basically it doesn't really matter if I put a link in. It just matters more like the content. So for instance, one of my lead magnets was getting people on a podcast. And so I'd actually put a link to the podcast because I knew that everyone would say yes. So Google wouldn't think of it as spam. So even if it was a link, it was just like a normal email, So that was a big realization for me. But I like this. I think this is on the right track. I would say, yeah, definitely make something. What I always encourage people to do as well, because I know sometimes people have ethical gray areas or qualms with saying that I already made something for you and I want to send it to you, even though they haven't made it for everyone and they're just waiting for them to say yes and only make it for people who say yes. If you have concerns about that, then you can change it up. So you can say, I'm in the process of finalizing a video for you. That's a key. So you can say, I'm in the process of finalizing, and then you don't even have to worry about, if it's a gray area or like a fib or anything. Just say, I'm in the process of finalizing this video for you on X, Y, or Z. The last thing I'll say here is maybe come up with 5 different lead magnets that you can use, because what happens is a lot of people, they'll go out and they'll say, oh, Lucas, AJ, they told me to go get this lead magnet changed up. And I'm so excited. I'm going to start sending this. I'm going to get hundreds of meetings. And then what happens is sometimes they don't. And then they think, oh man, that strategy must have sucked.
Yeah.
But it's not actually that. Usually sometimes it's the strategy was correct, but the market that you're sending this to might already be used to that, because some other people might be offering the same lead magnet. So they might not even care because it's so saturated, or they just might not find it valuable for whatever reason. So what I typically recommend people do is come up with 5 different lead magnets that are things that they would pay for with time or money, and test all 5. And that's even more important than even testing the copy, in my opinion, because usually the value of the lead magnet is what's more important. And then the copy sort of follows after that.
Yeah, 100%. And the way you can think about the lead magnet is it's basically your offer. Instead of going, if you're asking someone to book a call, which is what 99% of people do in cold email, their offer is take a call with me, right? So when you're giving a lead magnet, it's the same process. You're just putting the focus on something that they're more likely to say yes to, which gets that first yes. And that's the most important thing, is like, I just view sales as steps of yeses. And if you can break those yeses up into mini or smaller, easier yeses, then people kind of move down easier. And this is the hardest part of the funnel, right? It's the top. It's why so many people struggle with outreach and cold emails, because you have zero trust with this person. They don't even know you, right? If it's something like this.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot harder. So yeah, having something that's enticing is key.
Yeah. And I would say too, I mean, if we want to be really specific for Yvart and literally show him exactly what he should be putting here, I can come with a couple right now. So first one that could be cool. I've just been throwing this in for everyone if they are interested in doing it, because I think it's so powerful. I definitely recommend doing a podcast. Like, that has been so key for me. So I'm always going to tell people to do that as an option. So that's one potential thing you could do. You can invite people on your podcast. I know people sometimes struggle though with public speaking or even just virtual speaking. So if that's not something you like to do, then the video does make sense. But what I would say here is, you could say, like, you basically are burying the lead in this email. That's the problem. You're saying you've spent $30 million in ads and you made a video for them. But what I'd be interested in, if I was an e-commerce company or a fashion company, I'd be interested in, how is the market spending their money right now in ads? So like, if you made a video that was like, I looked at what you're spending ad dollars on, because I can see your Facebook ads inside the Facebook ad library. And then I'm also looking at your competition, and I'm also looking at my clients, and I basically made a market analysis on how everyone is spending their money right now, what kind of content is getting the best performance, and I made one custom for you that I spent time on. Do you want to see it? Like, that is a higher level priority, because for me, I want to get like God view on the market. And so if I had a view on how everyone was doing, that's so valuable. That's even more valuable than just a comparison of my brand to a competitor. It's like, that's like 10 times more valuable,
Yeah. And that's something that would have taken you a lot of time up front, maybe a lot of time, but you have it forever.
Yeah.
Right.
You do.
And the cool thing is, dude, you could test like 20 different lead magnets at once. That doesn't mean you have to go make 20 lead magnets. Just wait for someone to say yes to a response, right? Because you can basically, validate things through messaging before you make it.
And, one little growth hack I'll also mention here, which I've actually been getting some success with, is calling out brands online, especially on Twitter, and getting them to reshare my stuff or engage with me. It's actually been a really fun little growth hack. And so one thing I would encourage people to try, and I love giving these suggestions, because then people take me up on it. I'm like, I see them happen. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is working. But basically, one thing I've been thinking about is, what if you made these videos and you did them for different brands, and instead of just saying via email, you literally posted it on your social and you tagged the brand and you said, hey, just so you know, I noticed a lot of different things that you guys can improve, and I actually made this video to show you how you can improve it. Not only does that help people that follow you to get better at ads, because probably what will happen if you start posting online, you're probably going to get people who follow your account because they want to get better at advertising. So that's going to help them. So it's going to be valuable for them. But also, it's going to be, the brand is almost going to have to respond. Plus, it's not like private information. This is all stuff that's public online. So they're not you're not violating anything and you're not pissing them off because it's like probably helpful, but it's going to get their attention. That's the thing. It's probably going to get the attention of the marketing director because most likely all these brands are on social 24/7. And it's so unique that like nobody is doing it. So they're just going to immediately be drawn to it, you know?
That's a really great growth hack. You've tried that on your Twitter or somewhere else?
Yeah, I've tried something similar in the last few days because I had the idea like just a few days ago. And what I've been doing is this is actually really fun. I'll actually I'll post a growth hack saying how much I like a different tool, like a software tool that I know agencies use. And then what happens is the company or the brand, they like it so much that they just reshare my tweets, right? So they'll like Hotjar, for instance, just retweeted me like 2 days ago, and they
Ooh,
have like, yeah, and I knew it was gonna happen because I was like, if I talk about how much I love this and they see that I have a kind of a following, then they're gonna be more likely to reshare my stuff, right? So like, and it happened, right? And once you really get into the psychology of how these people work, you can get this stuff to happen like clockwork. It's weird. So that happened a couple of times. Like Rewardful did that too, which is another software a lot of agencies use, and also Hotjar and Founder Path, which also a lot of agencies use. So it's like multiple big brands have retweeted me just because I shout them out, essentially.
Well, dude, it's basically user generated content for them. That's awesome.
Biggest growth hack.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So did you have another one or anything else in here?
Yeah, I got well, I think you have a submission too, right?
I do. Yes. I
Cool.
do.
Also, the last thing I would say about this is I think you could cut out this first line here that says, "I wish I had something to sell, but I don't." Having said that, what I do like is doing something creative in the opening line. So definitely on the right track there. But I think it's just it can either be changed a little bit to lead in a little bit better, or it could just be removed, and you could kind of just get right to the. I mean, when you have a sharper looking lead magnet, like
Yeah.
get to that as soon as possible. You know.
I totally agree. And also because, yeah, people are used to being sold to. So sometimes saying like, I'm not selling you sounds actually sometimes more like you are selling them. You know?
And you are going to sell them something at some point, hopefully.
Yeah. And also, by the way, this is another really good growth hack that I've been doing recently is say I was referred to you by a friend. And that friend could be anyone. Like referrals happen all the time. You could just find like a random person who you're working with, like my business partner. So for instance, Christian, we work together. Obviously, he's my business partner, and he sends me all of these leads, right? So he's referring them to me. So I literally just tell them, hey, I was referred to you by a friend. I heard about you guys online, which is all true. I'm in the process of making something because I saw there were some issues with your website. Where can I send it? Like I spent all this time making it. Can I send it to you or can I send it to someone else? And they're going to say, yes, send it to me. And you're going to get them more excited essentially. So that's kind of what I would do in that situation.
Yeah. Good stuff for sure. I think you had one, right?
Yeah. Let me share mine. So there's Agnes from DigiPow, who's also a Twiz member. And again, for anybody new hopping into the stream, feel free to comment questions below if you have anything you want us to look at or you want us to talk about certain things. We're happy to do that. But yeah, we have two. So this one, you popped up as a recommended connection on LinkedIn. Let me see. Is this? Oh yeah, you can see it. Okay, cool. Actually, can you see my screen right now?
No, I can't.
Okay, I think I have to.
But it's small.
Yeah, let me actually try removing it and then adding it back. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Text looks okay. It's not too tiny.
It's good. It's fine now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you popped up as a recommended connection on LinkedIn. I was checking out company. I'm Agnes, CEO of DigiPow, a powerhouse of full service digital marketing solutions. I'm actually just going to stop right here before we go into the next thing, because my rule of thumb with any cold email is if it takes me longer, if it takes effort for me to read it to someone, then it's too long. That's kind of like my rule of thumb. So like if I'm reading it out loud and I feel like it's a pretty long one, I have to like get through it pretty it takes a lot of effort, then it's too long. So like I would honestly make this, I would cut out all of this. I'd cut out all of that. You can maybe mention some of the brands, like that could be cool, but I don't know. I wouldn't keep any of this. And I would try to give them a specific point solution to their problem. So I see that you're doing, right, like full service digital marketing solutions. And the reason people tell you to focus on a niche or to like have one specific thing that you do really well is because in a lot of cases, you're just too saturated. So like in this situation, I don't know what you're good at enough to like make me immediately want to work with you or immediately want to respond, because there's not like a clear enough thing in terms of the one thing that you're really good at. There's so many things that you're probably good at, but is there anything that you have as the most popular service and then also the most profitable? Because I would almost start there just to make it more unique and interesting. And then it's a lot of the same stuff that AJ and I have been talking about already, which is like this year, free consultation strategy session, axe that completely. That's the stuff that everyone's doing. You have to ask yourself, what is saturated in the market? What are the most common lead magnets right now? And it's almost always a free consultation, like 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
And AJ,
raise your hand if you've been offered a free consultation in your life before. If you've been offered a free consultation.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point, because I think if the way to think about things, I think, is only offer things that you ideally try to offer something that you've never been offered before. That's like probably a good rule of thumb.
That's a good idea.
If nobody has ever offered it to you before, that probably means no one has ever tried. And if you know it's valuable and nobody's ever tried, then you're good, right? Yeah. So I think to be helpful here, Agnes, like just to pick some things that you probably could do is, let's say for sake of argument, social media is your best solution you offer. If social media is your best solution that you offer and you're most profitable and popular, I would show and not tell. So instead of telling them how great you are, I would maybe say, hey, I'm in the process of making 10 social media posts I'm finalizing for your brand. I'm following you guys for a while on social, and I don't really like a lot of the stuff you guys are putting out, to be completely honest. I think it could be improved. So I actually made a bunch that I want to send over to you that you could check out. Should I send it to you or somebody else? And that's going to get dramatically higher responses, like dramatically higher than this right here, because this is too salesy, right? So that's what I would say. AJ, you got anything?
Yeah, man, I think you hit on a lot of really, really important stuff. I think my first two thoughts when I looked at this email is, one, too long, like you started with. Actually, there was a stat from Will Albert, a guy that runs a software that's like an AI writing assistant tool. So they get to analyze all the cold emails that run through their tool. And he said that emails that are 25 to 50 words get twice the reply rate. That doesn't mean they're better, right? Doesn't know it's
right.
Like we can't just take a stat, but I mean, that's the main goal, right? Is to get that reply rate as high as possible.
Yeah.
So
that actually is really interesting.
Yeah. And 25 to 50 words, that's like 3-4 sentences.
Yeah.
Which is hard. It's hard to say everything you want to say in 3-4 sentences. But the thing is, you don't need to sell. The goal of an email isn't to sell your company. It's not to say like, here's my brochure of services, right? Yeah. You're just trying to get them interested. You're just trying to say something that aligns with the intent of what you're trying to do, and just get them to reply and just get them curious. So the goal, like the best way to think about this is look at it as the goal is just to start a conversation. The goal isn't to get a meeting. The goal is to start a conversation. And when you start a conversation, then you can transition to a meeting, which is way easier from that point.
100%. Yeah. And I think, like you said, I mean, getting them a specific thing that's going to get them to say yes. I mean, I think once you have a lead magnet in place, everything else will follow. Everything else will be so much easier once you have a lead magnet in place. That's it. You just need to start there. Start with something. And the reason it's called a lead magnet too, by the way, is because people are magnetized. They come towards you.
I love that word. I just love the word.
Yeah. Like they come to you, right? Like, especially because when they hear about it, they're going to start telling their friends about it if it's that good. And that's the other thing. So this is something I'll end on, and we'll move on to the next email. But your lead magnet is your very first product in your business. Point. It's the first thing that leads to everything else, right? And so it follows all the same rules as a normal product that you would sell. So for a normal product, like let's say it's Google Ads and you have a Google Ads service, if you have to think about it as, am I extremely profitable on this? Are people referring this to other people? And if neither of those things are true, then the lead magnet is not good, or the product's not good enough. And so the same thing goes for the lead magnet. Am I profitable on this? Can I scale this 100, 1,000 times and still be profitable on it? And are they telling their friends about it? And if all three of those things are true, then your lead magnet's in a good position. And it's going to be super easy to write copy around it. But that needs to be the case before anything else.
For sure. I liked your idea before about creating a report, especially because that's something that can be just done once. You don't have to even customize it for each person.
Yeah, report.
Dude, people pay for research. Some like companies pay millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars for like research.
100%. And also, it's like whatever. Like if you look at your value stack that Russell Brunson talks about all the time, all these big people, what is something on that value ladder that you can deliver a piece of, just a tiny piece of, to show them that you're actually good, right? Because if you're struggling to figure out what people are willing to pay for, you know, we talk about all the time, like give something that is worth time or money to them. And that's the important part, not to you, but to them. What are they willing to pay for? If you already have clients that are paying you, then you know what's valuable to them because they're paying you, right? So what they're paying you can you give them for free, right? To just like show them how to do a good job. And one little growth hack you can do as well is, let's say you have a form and you say, hey, yeah, if they say they're interested, say, yeah, I just need a little bit of information from you just to finalize it. You could say, just fill out this information here. And what you could do, I've noticed that works really well, is let's say you're finalizing some social media posts and you need them to fill out a few things about their brand so you can finalize it. At the very end of that form, you can say, are you interested in hearing about how we can, 10x your social media this month, right? Or something. Yeah. And if they say yes, then there you go. You have a conversation started for the next step. If they say no, then maybe they're not a good fit. Or you can ask them like, hey, I saw you said no. I want to be respectful, so I'm not going to push, but I'm just curious, like, do you guys have everything taken care of? Just want to make sure. But like, that's going to make it easier as a conversation. And it's better to fill it out as a form than to say it to someone's face. That's what I've noticed. People don't really like telling you whether or not they're interested. They'd rather just put it in a form so they don't have to deal with the confrontation.
Yeah, right. So where would you send that form to someone?
I would do it right after the they say yes. Or even what you could do is you could send them the material that you're talking about, and you could say, okay, yeah, here's what I was putting together. I do think there needs to be some tweaks to this, though, because I don't think it properly reflects your brand. Do you mind if you fill this out for me? And it's like 2 questions, but it's going to help me update the social to be a little better. And then from there, I'll send you another revised version. And then they'll fill it out. And then from there, at the end, you can have that question, right? Because if you have to fill the form out to get them to receive the free stuff, then they might be a little wary because they might be like, oh, I thought it was free. Like, why are you giving me to fill the form out? But if they've already received it and it's really good, like if a poll, the guy in the group who's dope and he's been making these graphics for us, if he was like, hey, I've been making these, I actually would love to, make a few more of these for you, but I need some more insight on this. Like, could you fill us out? And if he said in the form, he had a question that said, hey, I actually charge like $50 per hour for these. Are you interested in like how I can make you maybe 100 of these a month or something? I'm not sure I'd say yes. I don't know. I already have some solutions right now, but there's definitely a lot of people who would say yes to that, right? So that's kind of the way you should think about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, if someone's already given something to you, it's like not a problem to fill out the form for them. I mean, if a pool asked us to fill out a form so he can make a free video for us, I'd be like, sure, right?
I would definitely do it. Yeah. 100%. And actually that goes into a really good point that a poll is doing, which if you guys haven't seen it, just look at the Facebook group, or I posted in our Slack group too, but he's making these really funny graphics, but he's getting a really good thing covered, which I want to make sure we talk about in these lead magnets. It's also why my podcast works so well for a lead magnet, because the highest order need that humans have is to feel special and loved and like basically praised. Like humans want to feel like they're they're cool, right? That's why luxury has insane profit margins, right? Because people want to feel cool. And so people who come on my show, they're getting free exposure, which everyone wants. So they're feeling cool. What a poll is doing is he's posting this and he's making us feel like mini celebrities, which we're not,
definitely.
you know, but like we get the feeling of being a mini celebrity. And like that is satisfying my inner need to feel special. And so if you can do that for your prospects, you're going to get way more people interested, right? That's what I mean by showing and not telling too. You want to show them and not just tell them stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I'm going to share my screen really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me. Yeah, showing and telling for sure. Showing is way better than telling. It's funny that you said mini celebrities because here we're actually movie stars. This is one of Apul's graphics, what we were just referencing a minute ago.
Yeah,
but that's how Apul got my attention. I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. He actually made an AJ Quesada Instagram fan page, and I was like, I have to check this out. It was one of my team members who sent it to me. And yeah, I mean, we've done business since then. And look at this, we're promoting him, talking about it right now, word of mouth, because it's something unique, which is kind of the whole point of the lead magnet, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of the idea. And oh, hey, I actually just see some people commenting 25 to 50 words. That feels too short. Yes, it does. And it does feel awkward at first, but you know, once you kind of get going in it, it does make it a lot better. I would say.
Yeah. It's harder to write shorter. You would think that like writing shorter, oh, it's less words, it's less work, but it's way harder. It just honestly the best way to get something short is just to keep editing it. If you do it a third and a fourth time, you'll keep finding ways to make it shorter. You have to take the time. I was just reviewing like a client's cold emails today, and basically just told them like, just go. You write these just before. Just go write it again. Go look at it again tomorrow with a fresh eye, and you'll probably have ideas to make it better. So kind of it just takes like going that extra step to make it shorter. But even back to Agnes's email, you could say a lot of that stuff in shorter sentences. I mean, it was written pretty concise, but there was just too much unnecessary information. Like they don't need to know all of your services. You don't need to offer them on a conversation call. I think the main good point in that email was that she worked for big companies like Pepsi. So I think like all the other information distracts from that, you know?
Right.
So
I mean, you could even, we're going to say.
I was going to say, you could even lead with like the lead mag could be around that. Like, hey, the 12 things I learned from running marketing campaigns for big brands like Pepsi or whoever else is on there.
Yeah. It could be that. And it could also be like, hey, for Pepsi, we made social media graphics and they really loved them. I would love to make social media graphics for you. I'm actually in the process of finalizing one for your brand based on what I did for them. Do you want to see it? Like that makes you feel a lot more special because you're being associated with an enormous company, right?
Yeah.
So
sure.
I think that's kind of the way to think about it is to, that's the way to think about it. So
totally, dude. Well, we got the last one here. Actually, speak of the devil from our man Apul.
Nice.
He sent this cold email today.
Let me pull it up.
I believe he was telling me that this has worked for him, and he's gotten a client from this one before. But the problem he's having is that he actually creates the asset first, so these take him a lot of time. So he was like, "Hey, how can I scale this more?"
I mean, you know, I personally like that I'm in the process of, because technically from the moment you find them as a prospect, you're in the process of making something. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind that at all. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, honestly, it takes a lot more time to just do it first. But if you're reaching out, I'd say Apul, if you're reaching up to even bigger influencers, then this would definitely get their attention more. Especially like in our case, you know, we actually just someone tags us in a social post with something you made, right? So I think definitely this will get attention when they can actually see it first. And if you were going to send in this email, I would make sure you're sending an image rather than the drive folder so that they can actually see the image and have the image like self-identify with them.
Right. Or even one of the biggest problems with these like putting images in the cold email is that Google can flag it as spam. But if you tell them that you've made one, or that you're in the process of making one or finalizing it or something, then you can get them to say yes, which then immediately doesn't flag it as spam because it's in their inbox. They saw it and they're responding, right? So that could be good. You could also, one thing that could be cool is you could, just as a thought, you could say, hey, I'm in the process of finalizing some posts for you. I'm actually scheduling it out at 5 p.m. today on my social. And then you could like get them to say yes. And then if they don't respond, you could just not post it, because you're scheduling it. Does that mean you're going to actually push it live? No. I schedule stuff all the time that I remove.
Yeah.
Totally. So like that's another strategy. And then here's the thing. If they say, hey, I didn't see it, you could be like, oh yeah, here it is. And then you could just go share the link and post it,
For sure.
You could even say like, hey, I decided, like if they say, hey, I didn't see it, I thought you said you're going to post it. You could say, yeah, I didn't hear back from you. So like, I didn't know if you wanted me to do it. Right. Something like that. The key is just, again, to always get them to say yes, and to do it in as authentic of a way as possible. So that way it's not like misleading or spamming. So if you want to say that you're in the process of doing something, that's one way you can do it. But like, yeah, just these are things that are going to fix the value magnet, the lead magnet. I will say too, just something to think about. I just interviewed Scorpion's head of growth, and they were an agency that went from $20 million to $150 million a year in sales. And he was telling me what their main strategy was for leads. And he said that they spent like $3 million over about a 5-year time frame on cookies. And they would purchase these cookies that were really good cookies, and they would send it to their main demographic, which were lawyers. And then these lawyers would eat the cookies and they'd love them. And then immediately after, they would get people, to basically come in right after in their sales team after they'd already gotten them satisfied with cookies, and then that would get them to be way more likely to talk. And the same thing that happening right now at the poll with us talking about the graphics, they would talk about the cookies to other lawyers. They'd be like, oh, I love those cookies. Those were great cookies,
because that's unique. Yeah. It's something just new for them.
Yeah. But the thing is, the reason to poll that this is not working is not because you're not getting really good. It's not because the offer's not bad. It's just it's not something that's scalable right now. So you have to find a way to deliver this in a way that's scalable. Like the cookies thing is scalable. You could just pay someone to go purchase cookies and you don't have to do anything, So totally. I think that's the biggest thing. If you can kind of bottle this up, what you're doing, which is working, and then basically, essentially scale that up, then you should be really fine. Like your agency should grow extremely fast this year if you can do that.
Yeah, because the offer is solid. The offer is great. And that's what you've been doing so far. And I know he's gotten some good clients from it for sure. So just scaling it. So yeah, I would say, and then if you ever are going to make it first, really make sure you're also following up and making sure that there's a good opportunity to it, because I would send 100%. Free cookies if there was like a really great, potential client or whatever.
Yeah. And then also just like I do actually have one more. If you guys want to see it, I can share that.
What, another example cold email?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Is there anything else we want to say about a poll?
No, I think, just get the volume up and just try asking permission for it first.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So let me share my screen.
See if anyone else, guys, if you're here, you can ask questions or send something. Let me check the chat in the group.
This is another one from Agnes at DigiPow, but she sent over her LinkedIn templates, which I think are interesting because I definitely have, done a lot of LinkedIn outreach before in the past. But, she says, I was checking your profile. We should definitely stay connected. That works, but it actually does. This has a higher acceptance rate, which is like your first thing you have to get through the door is getting them to accept you.
Yeah. Extra stuff.
but this does have a higher acceptance rate than pitching them. That is for sure. That being said,
I definitely wouldn't recommend pitching in the connection request
yeah,
unless it
yeah,
was an amazing offer, like something really
yeah,
cool.
exactly. Yeah, unless you have something really good, like what we did when we were growing, is we did like what we did that with scale is exactly what I'm telling you guys all now, which is hey, I'm in the process of finalizing a video for you and your brand on how you can improve your SEO. Like, should I send it to you or someone else? That's it.
Yeah.
And that worked really well. Like, that's what got us to $200,000 a month, mainly because at the time it was pretty scarce. Like, nobody was really doing it.
It was newer back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And also, we were taking advantage of the fact that LinkedIn was a lot more lenient on what links could be posted in messages. And it was a lot easier to get these to people. But now it's a little harder. So you have to come with better lead magnets. But basically, yeah, I would just change this. I don't think, like, my point is that this is probably fine just to get your foot in the door. But, yeah, I mean, what I've actually seen work really well from my anecdotal data from a competitor who was telling me what they get really good open rates for is they said that it was a joke, which I don't know how well that would work, because if you're not funny, it may not work.
Has to be a good joke.
Has to be a good joke. So apparently that has the highest open rates of all their emails, because they do LinkedIn lead gen as an agency. That is the highest open rates or like connection acceptance rates, but you have to actually be funny. So,
yeah,
that's the only caveat here. But that's the connection request. Anything you want to say about this, or?
No, I think, yeah, it's all right. It's basically neutral. It's like not, it's not something that might, work amazing, but it's just simple. Yeah. It'll work fine.
Very simple.
Better than trying to do something risky or trying to, like pitch in the first message. So I think, yeah, this is totally fine to leave. It is something that everybody says. Everyone says, hey, we should stay connected, but it's not, there's nothing wrong with it in and of itself. So it's fine.
Yeah, just to get in the door, I think, like it might not be bad, but it is, very, very common.
Oh, dude, just to back up for a second. So you said that template or that offer was what got you to 200,000 a month in sales. So that was a big part of it was from cold email, and that was the main offer you were doing, right?
Cold email and also LinkedIn outreach.
And both platforms, like this was your hook. That was the one. That
but to be honest, the reason why, so this is kind of interesting, and it's something that I think a lot of people should know or learn, is it actually doesn't require like you don't need to be a lead magnet genius to hit $2 million in sales. So like I just brute forced my way to that number. But you don't actually need to be, like, you can do it. But the problem is that this is kind of what we've learned, is that you can do it, but what makes you a lot more profit and what gets people way more excited and what helps you grow from 2 to 10 and also makes you even more profitable at like $1 or $500,000 a year is basically having a really good lead magnet that everyone says yes to. And that's something that took me a while to figure out. And now I know what to do. But like I was doing it in the past, but I wasn't realizing what I was doing. That's the difference. Now I understand why it worked. And so yes, it did help us. And this is what helped us grow to that number. But I didn't know at the time why I was doing so well with it. I just kind of did it and it was working, So it wasn't a science, but now it definitely is. So
what were most of the types of companies this was working with? I mean, I know at Twiz you have a whole different client base, a variety, but
so for us, it was like our 50% of our businesses are service businesses that we work with. And a lot of the arbitrage opportunity there was service companies. A lot of times they didn't really know how to do SEO, or they didn't really have like a good website. And so when we told them that we had a solution for their business and we could show them how they ranked to their competitors via video, which was a unique way of doing it, then they basically would say yes, because they had no idea what was going on. Like they had no idea how SEO was such a new concept to them. They've never looked at like Ahrefs. But when you try that with e-commerce companies or even SaaS companies, a lot of times those guys are pretty savvy. And so they kind of already know like a lot of this stuff. So it doesn't work as well for those companies, which is why we always had less of those businesses than service businesses.
because they were just more unaware of yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
newer thing to them, right?
exactly.
Like
Exactly.
B2B service businesses or like local service businesses?
Like any kind of service business. So it could be like accountants, it could be photographers, it could
Yeah,
be anything really. But anyone that just had a traditional kind of like service business, they usually don't really know a lot about digital marketing for the most part. Like they don't really
right.
know as much as like a SaaS company who relies on it, or you know, e-commerce company who relies on it. Um, they can get away with just referrals and like intros and partnerships to grow their business. They don't even need to have a presence online, right?
Yeah,
Um,
but they're still interested in it.
they're still interested in it. And it's like that's kind of the other opportunity, is finding where is the arbitrage, right? So where can you get a lot of eyeballs and interest without paying a lot of money, right? Like
Yeah.
a video took us 5 minutes, and I actually have the folder, which I've shared many times on Twitter, and I probably will just put it up on the lead magnet here pretty soon. But um, I've like when I was doing those videos back in the day, I mean, we probably made like 200 grand just from those contracts we closed. And in total, it was probably only like 30 hours of my time,
What? How many videos was it? Like 100 or a couple
like
hundred?
100. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, right? I mean, the ROI is nuts. The reason why, like, I kind of traded off a little bit when I was growing, where if I had just kept doing that for years, I think our company would probably be at like $10 million right now in revenue. And I had like never stopped. But personally, I've always wanted to build a software. So that's why I've been in the software thing. And I also wanted to get myself out of the day to day of running the agency. I wanted to just do a management exit.
Yeah.
So for me, I like kind of just didn't want to keep doing that. It's just kind of it's like harder to do those videos. But I also didn't know a lot of the time, because I didn't know that like there were other ways that could deliver value. I didn't need to like do tons of videos. I could have come up with like 5 other lead magnets that probably would have done the same thing, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And there's lead magnets that don't have to be something that's unique to each person.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Just
100%.
creating one thing and then using it thousands of times.
Yes. Yes, yes. And should we show the other ones for Agnes?
Yeah, we can pop that back up.
Um okay, so you can see this?
Yeah, let's see who's here right now. We have Cloudy
Yeah.
here. We have who's with us? Idris, what's up? Oh, he's also from the agency Go Slack.
Amazing. Yeah. Kind of weird seeing your face on the live screen while you're
Slack?
talking.
Yeah.
Um, actually what could be interesting, man, is I think we can actually share the link to this if we want to add people as like to come up if they want to talk. So what I'll do is actually I'll invite some people if they want to hop on. And then I'll accept their requests if they want to hop in.
Meaning we can
Um,
send them to StreamYard.
Yeah. Yeah. As opposed, so if anyone wants to click on that link I put in there and hop in, and actually, like the link's right here, I put in the chat. If you guys want to actually join us and actually just ask us questions directly, feel free to hop in. But or just ask us questions on there. But let me go ahead and jump back into here. So with Agnes, so she said it's even better if we can get to know each other. Yeah, I mean, I think this one, there's some obvious things I would fix. Like, I mean, obviously, it's like people are probably going to say yes, but again, like it's just too saturated. Like the market is too saturated for this kind of an offer.
Yeah,
Everybody knows this offer. Like I've gotten this offer probably a million times since I joined LinkedIn, right?
me too. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah. So I think the thing is too, people will say yes. You'll get people that like are it's usually I've noticed they're the type of person that just likes to network when at any opportunity and would say yes.
Yeah.
Which also means you might end up having a lot of conversations with people who aren't necessarily qualified, right? I mean, unless you're
Right.
really making sure it's a good list. But I think also people that it depends who you're targeting. If you're reaching people that are more successful, their time is more precious to them, right? So they're probably not going to
Yeah.
do that.
Well, also because everybody, I mean, I think the thing is, and it's kind of showing in this next follow up and the one after that, is people know that you're about to hit them with a sales message.
Yeah,
You
just do
know,
it.
Yeah, like they see this and they're like, okay, this is part of that sequence. Like I know I'm about to get like multiple people hitting me. So it's, that's why, because basically everyone follows the same formula. They send this connection request out, they send a follow-up, and then from there they hit with like 3 others, right? Everyone does that. So that's why people don't accept these as often, because they're like, if I accept this, I know I'm just going to get hit with like 4 follow-up messages, you know?
Yeah.
So I would just, I would focus on that. I mean, literally, if you had to summarize, I guess my strategy, our strategy on coming up with these lead magnets is pretty simple. It's find something that is in your value stack that's super easy for you to deliver to get new customers. So it could be like one deliverable that people pay for. And that's the first thing. And then after that, come up with 5 alternative lead magnets in case that one fails. And then test all 5 by calling people, because typically, like if you call somebody and they say no to your thing, then that means it's not a good lead magnet, because you
Dude,
should be able. Yeah.
I love the idea of I want an army of cold callers with lead magnets, bro. Because I've never even seen anyone that's never seen or heard of anyone that's actually calling someone or doing cold calls with a lead magnet rather than saying, "Hey, are you interested in this?"
Well, yeah. I mean, what I do is, my rule of thumb is, if it doesn't work on every channel, it doesn't work. So it needs to be something that no matter what works everywhere, right? So for instance, for us right now with the software product, you can join for free, right? And like if anybody is interested, you could use AJ's code and stuff. But basically, that gets you in, that gets you free access. And basically the thing that we do though is we'll call up agencies and we'll say, hey, we have a lot of leads that are coming through the system, and we're always looking for partners for things that we don't do, which is 100% true. That's the only reason we started the software. Could we hop on a call so I can see like if I can send you some of these? Everyone says yes. It's not even a sales call. I'm literally just relaying a message to them, right? And that's the difference. Is like, you shouldn't. These are some of the misconceptions that I had when it came to lead gen. Is I thought that, oh, it's just part of the game. People are just going to tell me, screw you, I don't want to talk to you, like when you're on calls with them. But that's not it. That's not it at all. Like that's not what you're supposed to be doing. With calls, it's supposed to be something where everyone says yes to it and everyone likes it. And everyone's like, and then that's the reason people scale cold calling as a service, or even they can scale their business with cold calling, is because they're not actually doing cold calling. They're just relaying a message that everyone says yes to. And then from there, they basically get all these leads. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely not trying to sell hard on a cold call.
No. But yeah, I mean, covered a lot of ground here, man. It's been really solid.
Definitely. I think the big takeaway is figure out a lead magnet, create a bunch, and just go call out people.
Yeah.
And you can validate your ideas with messaging, right? You can just send out messaging, and then if you send 1,000 emails and nobody says they want this, then perfect. Don't even worry about it. Don't even feel bad. Just on to the next one. To the next lead magnet.
100%. I mean, I think that is the key. And I think, I've been really excited personally about just the opportunity of being able to show all you guys that the lead magnet should be the very first thing that you do. And it's actually interesting because if you guys have all read the book $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi, he was originally going to write his lead gen book, which he's finishing up right now. He was going to write that first, but then he decided to write the offers book, right? Just around like picking the right offer, etc., because he felt that was more important. But this other book was almost the one he was going to start. And I think the world is probably going to wake up and realize this once that book comes out, because it'll probably go just as viral as his first one.
Yeah.
But like, that's the thing. If you don't have that piece and you don't have something that everyone says yes to, then you're always going to be playing a different game than everyone else who's figured it out, basically.
Yeah. What's his other book about? It's about leads, right?
Yeah, he's going to be launching here pretty soon, I think. But it's about, he's like, I think he's doing 3 books. I think it's like one on the offer, one on leads, and then one on like probably marketing or sales. I'm pretty sure is the third
Sales, I
one.
think you said, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I would absolutely love that to read that and consume that. But like, it just because for the longest time, I was just thinking like, how are some people able to have mind-bogglingly more success than us, right? Like, how are they able to get like $10 million in revenue,
Yeah.
$100 million in revenue? Like, how are they doing it? Because you start to look at all these things and you're like, there's no way I'm that much worse than the other products that are out there.
Yeah.
Like there has to be something else going on. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that it isn't really the product. A lot of times it's just the lead magnet. People are just getting told so often and they think that that's just the way it's supposed to be,
Getting told what?
No.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like people just shouldn't be getting told no as much as they are. Like they should be getting told yes
Dude,
predominantly,
one of the first things I learned in sales, from one of my old bosses at a company I used to work at, was every no leads you closer to a yes, right? That's like the sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And that's I think why so many businesses fails, because there's this conceptual, like, not there's this knowledge, I guess. And I think what ends up happening is like a lot of businesses that are, like you go to corporate job maybe before you launch your business and then you learn all this stuff. I've realized that a lot of these companies, because I've worked with like billion-dollar companies before, the people that I'm working with in those situations are usually not the CEOs, right? They're like the directors of marketing, and a lot of times they don't know this stuff as well as like the CEOs do. So you're not getting that like direct to the source information on like how they actually scaled, right?
Yeah.
And that's really the big wake up, is like, oh wow, this is how you scale. Like this is actually how you grow. It's from this,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it. I think it's supposed to be 30 minutes, 52 minutes now, but it was a good one, man.
Oh, is it? Oh shoot, I had this down for an hour.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
Dang.
because we were going to chat about the other stuff separately after.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Damn, my bad.
No, it's all good. Hope the audience enjoyed it.
Yeah. Shoot. Well, hey, thanks for everybody who watched. Appreciate it. And this Thursday's at 9 a.m. PST.
Yeah.
Show up. And then it was great to review all this email copy. So if anyone wants to submit more, like, please do. So
yeah, 100%. We'll see you guys next week. Yeah, same time.
all right. Thanks.
Cheers.